So Android Debug Bridge. So what is the use of Android Debug Bridge? To know how many devices are connected, correct? Any other answers, Pallavi? So basically, Android Debug Bridge is used to check how many devices are connected and to detect whether the device is in an active state in order to execute the APM scripts. So how do you check? So we have commands. Once you set the Android home path, then after setting the home path, you will type a command called adb devices. So then it will show list of devices which are connected here. Okay. So let me connect my personal mobile device with USB cable. Clear? So I am sharing my screen, guys. Can you please confirm if you're able to view the screen? Yes. Okay. So once you connect your mobile device with USB cable, then you can check whether the device is in active state or unauthorized state or error state using adb devices command. Correct? So if the device is showing device serial number is displayed here and the status is device, then the device is active. Then you can perform your to execute your APM scripts with the device, or you can perform some other shell operations. So to view the device screen on the computer, I am using Android Screen Monitor jar, which is called ASM jar. So let's double click. Yes. So this is my mobile device, which is available here. Let me unlock this. So, I have a question here. What about other two scenarios in case of authorized or failed? Yes, it's a very good question, Chandan. So when you see any unauthorized, let's say, let me remove this USB cable now. And when I'm firing the device, ADB devices command, I cannot see any devices available here. Or let's say if you're not providing access. So whenever you connect your mobile device with USB cable, sometimes you'll get a pop-up here asking you to allow this device to trust this computer. Okay. Once you provide that dialog box to provide access to trust this computer, you need to select always allow to trust this computer and say yes. Then your unauthorized will be displayed as a device here. Clear? If you don't trust your computer for this mobile device when you're connected with the USB, then you will get unauthorized as your device state. Okay. Now, so once your devices is connected fine, then we have seen some Android commands like how to operate this particular mobile device using Android debug bridge commands. Let me wake the screen first. Okay. So then we have seen some commands like pushing a text to this mobile device, some keyboard events, some Android lockheads, checking the lockheads, installing the application into the Android mobile device, and uninstalling the application from the mobile device. Contact Manager is my APK. So I need to install this particular mobile device into this particular this Android application into this particular mobile device. So let me show you this menu here. So the already this application is available here. So let me uninstall this application. Clear? Now I have uninstalled this particular application. So what is this APK file, guys? Contact manager.apk. What is this APK? So this is the application file which is used to install into the Android mobile device. Let's say if your developer is building an application, then he will package the application code into .apk extension file. So this is your application which the developer is packaging. This is nothing but which is similar to exe file for our Windows application, guys. Now, if you want to install this particular application, let's type command adb install, and you need to pass the path where this application is available. So I have saved the application under desktop. Under desktop, I have this particular couple of folders and my APK file path. This is the complete path. So just give the path of this particular path of your application and execute this command. So this will install the application into your mobile device. So now the application shows it is success. If you see here in the mobile, an icon is available, which is Contact Manager. So now you can open this application and you can write your test cases, or you can manually test. So this is the application which is a Contact Manager, which shows the available contacts in the mobile device. Or you can add a new contact using clicking on add button, give the contact name, contact phone number, and you can do this one. So this is a native application which is developed by developer, and the developer has provided us the APK file. So we are installing this APK file into this particular mobile device. So there are a couple of questions. So have we need to specify this app need to be installed on which device? Oh, okay. In case of multiple devices connect. So since when you do adb devices command, Chandan, so you have got only one device, okay? One device available here. So you no need to specify any path. So when there are multiple devices connected to this particular one, then you need to provide the serial number of the device. So copy this serial number, adb provide -s, and give the serial number of the device, and then your command starts install on the file path of your application. So now this should give an error, installation failure error, because already the application is available here. See, it gives an installation failure error. So when you have multiple devices, you need to provide -s and provide the device serial number here. So this we have discussed in our last session, if you are aware of this. So if you want to uninstall this particular application, what is the command that we need to use, guys? We have discussed in a previous session. ADB uninstall package name. So what is the package name in an Android for an Android application? So a package name is a unique identifier for your application. So you can uniquely identify your application with package name. And so let's use the command adb uninstall, provide the package name. So this is the package name of our application. So how do we find out the package name of our application, guys? So the uninstall is success. If you see here, the contact manager application is removed. So how do you identify your package name of your application? So your developer will not give you the package name of your application. The developer will give you only the APK file which is to be installed in your mobile device. Correct? So the developer is giving only this APK file. So that you need to install into this device and you need to work out. So we discussed about this current activity application, right? So go to the Play Store, download this current activity. So enable this show floating window. Then it will show you in the screen what are the package names and what are the activity name. What is activity name? So the above one is package name. So the below one is activity name, right? So we have discussed what is an activity name. So when you have multiple devices, so we have used this command adb-s, the device serial name, and the command to install. So the app is installed. So to identify the package and activity name, let's quickly go back here, guys. So if you see here, for any Android application, we will have package name as a unique identifier. Okay. For any Android application, your package name is a unique identifier to identify your package or your application, either to install or to uninstall, launch your application through Android debug. So you need this package name and this activity name for your APM scripts to work with native application. Clear, guys? And in iOS, similarly, to identify your application, we will use bundle identifier to identify your package uniquely. Let's say all the employees of Wipro have an ID, correct? So employee ID you have or employee code you have. So if there are multiple names, let's say some name like Pallavi is there. So there are multiple people in Wipro who has a name called Pallavi, correct? So to identify you uniquely, you have employee code. So this to identify your Android application which is installed in your mobile device. So there are a lot of applications in the mobile device. To identify your application uniquely, you will use package name, and activity name is nothing but your unique identification of your page. as I told, in mobile, everything is a page. So whenever I'm moving from one page to another page, let's say, now if you see here, com.android.launcher3.launcher. This is the activity name of this particular page. So when I click on some other page, like contact manager, something like that, so automatically the activity name got changed. So if you see here, uh, contact manager is my activity name for this particular page. Now if I click on add contact button, my page will change in mobile. Whenever my page is changing, even my uh, activity name is getting changed. Contact adder is my activity. So everything, whenever you are seeing any unique page in your mobile device, every single page is called as activity in your mobile application. Clear? So package name is unique to your application. Activity name is unique to your page. So could you repeat ADT bundle identifier? Okay, about bundle. So in Android, we have package name, right, to uniquely identify. So whereas when you are working with iOS applications, we will not have a term called package name. Instead of package name, we will have a term called bundle identifier. So this is which is something specific to iOS. So even in iPhone applications, in iPhone you can install some applications from the App Store, right? So these applications, in order to control your iOS native or hybrid applications, you will use bundle identifier and you will work with your scripts. Okay. So then we have seen how to check your memory with Android monitor DDMS libraries. So the application is current activity. So the application which is used to identify the package and activity name is current activity. So if you want to install this application, directly navigate to App Store or Play Store. Go to the Play Store. Just type here current activity. So it is developed by Willis. So this is the application, current activity. So just install this application. Once your application is installed here, launch the application. So you will have only one option, show floating window. So just enable your floating window. Okay. Suppose if your accessibility settings is blocking this application, it will automatically launch accessibility settings. Just enable this current activity in accessibility settings also, so that this screen will be showed with the package and activity names. So most of you people will face some issues during connecting your mobile device. So when you connect your mobile device with USB cable and type here ADB devices, it will not show any device. Even though you connected your mobile device with USB cable, your Android SDK path is set properly, you will be not able to detect your mobile. So what exactly you need to do is, it's not an issue with Android SDK or with something. So just go to the mobile settings. Go to mobile settings. Go to the developer options in your settings. So I have my developer options here. So once you navigated to your developer options, enable this developer options. It will be initially it will be like this. Just enable this developer options. Okay. Now enable USB debugging here. If you disable this USB debugging, I will lose this screen connectivity, so I'm not disabling this one. Click on USB debugging. Okay. Once this USB debugging is enabled, then click on revoke debug authorizations. This revoke US debugging authorizations will allow you to pop up a window to trust this computer. So whenever a pop-up will come here, so always trust this computer. So just select that and say OK. Then you will be able to detect your devices, ADB devices. Clear? So you need to enable. Suppose if you are not able to view your developer options in settings, throughout your settings, if you are not able to view your developer options, if it's a new mobile, just go to about phone. Go to about phone. Somewhere go to device information. So it again differs from vendor to vendor, guys. Suppose your device manufacturer is in Lenovo. I'm using Lenovo mobile, so the user interface is a bit different. If you're using Moto or Sony, so just navigate your build number wherever it is in the about phone. Mostly the build number will be in about phone. Just now go to the build number, type on the build number 8 times. Now for me a pop-up is coming. No need, you are already a developer. If you tap this for 8 times, it will enable your developer settings. Then come back. Once you're a developer, it shows a message. You are now a developer. Then come back. You will be able to see this developer options menu in your settings. Clear? If you are not able to detect your mobile device, enable your developer options. If you are not able to see the developer options, just go to the about phone. From about phone, you can enable your developer options by tapping on your build number 8 times continuously. Clear? So now all set, right? So do you have any queries in installing Android SDK and configuring Android Debug Bridge? Any queries, guys? So are you clear how to set up Android Debug Bridge and connect your mobile device and work with your mobile device? So if you don't have any mobile device, so you can generate an emulator, Chandan. But once if you want to work with emulators, you need to have a high-end laptop or a computer with you because it occupies a lot of memory. So I recommend you to connect with a particular Android device and work with that instead of going to emulator and getting stuck there. So revoke usage once again. Can you please explain revoke usage once again? Okay. So if you see here, if you go to your mobile settings, okay, you have a developer options here. Click on the developer options. Then under USB debugging, you have revoke USB debug authorizations. So click on this particular option, revoke USB debugging authorizations. So then once you connect, since I have always trusted, you'll get a pop-up here. Always allow to connect to this computer. So okay, now since I have already ticked that particular pop-up, I'm not able to get this one. Let me try disabling USB access. Since it's already trusted here, I'm not getting a pop-up. You will get a pop-up here. So you need to tick that particular checkbox, then click on OK button, so that your device state is active here. If you don't allow this pop-up, or if you ignore that pop-up, you will be able to find out what device serial ID is connected here, but the option will be like the unauthorized. It will show as your device status as unauthorized. Okay, if your device status is unauthorized, your APM tool cannot execute your mobile scripts in this particular mobile. Clear? So we have seen what is monitor, right? Monitor.batch file. What is the usage of monitor.batch file? So where is our Android SDK installed? So go to the users, app data, go to local folder, your Android. This is your Android SDK home path which is installed, correct? Now if you go to the tools folder, there is a batch called monitor.batch. So as someone asked, if I don't have real mobile device, can I create emulator? Definitely you can create an emulator and work. So under tools folder, you will have these options to create emulator. So you can work with this particular, double click this emulator and create your Android virtual device. And you can use your Android virtual device for your testing. But let's not go there. Because we are running out of time. So this, when you double click on this monitor.batch file, this your IDE is opened. Android device monitor IDE is opened. Before it was called as DDMS library. Now in latest Android Studio, it is called as Android device monitor. Previously, it was called as DDMS. Clear? So DDMS is nothing but Dalvik debug monitor service, which is nothing but you're monitoring a device directly from your Android SDK. What is the memory? What is the CPU usage? What load you have kept for CPU usage? And what is the frame rendering rate? And your file explorer. If you want to push the files to your mobile device, pull the files to your mobile device, or if you want to get a logs here. Okay. So if you want to get a logs, so everything can be monitored from this monitor. Clear? So previously Android monitor was called as DDMS. I'll just type the full form here. Dalvik debug monitor service. Sorry. So just a second, guys. It's Dalvik Debug Memory Monitor Service. So your DDMS is also called as Android Device Monitor now. So it shows list of mobiles which are connected here, and you can take a screenshot of your particular mobile. Once you can take a screenshot, then you can rotate, download that copy. So during your mobile testing, so since you are working with a tool like APM, you doesn't require uh, it doesn't require to open all these Android SDK native tools. Suppose when you're doing a pure hardware testing of Android mobile device, all these tools is required. I'm just telling what are the contents of Android SDK here for your better understanding how your APM is communicating to each and every tool which is located in SDK. Like you have seen the path right here for ADB, Android Debug Bridge. So your ADB is sitting here. You know what ADB can do. It can see how many devices are connected. It can work with some pushing, launching some text, controlling your mobile directly from your command prompt. Now this is about Android SDK. Now what is the next step which is required, or next software which is required for us to install or to work with APM? Let's go to prerequisites. We have Android SDK, Java is there, Eclipse is already there, TestNG we have, WebDriver client libraries we have, or APM for Windows we need. Where exactly can we download APM for Windows? So before that, any queries, guys? How to set up Android SDK and how to set up a platform tools path for ADB, and connecting your device and checking whether your device is active or not. So this is the prerequisite for APM. So if you want to execute APM script, you need to have an active device connected with USB to your computer. Any queries still here in this process? So all clear, no queries in setting up Android home path and connecting a mobile device. So if no queries, we can see how to download APM and install, guys. Just respond in the chat box. Guys, can you please respond in the chat box if you are not clear with the Android SDK, or do you want me to repeat this topic? Because without setting up your Android SDK home path, you will be not able to work with your APM, guys. Yeah. So any queries? Okay. So let's see now how to download apm.io. APM to your local, install the APM, and we'll write a sample script for APM mobile web today. We'll execute that script in our mobile device, which I have connected and display to you now. So just navigate to apm.io in your Chrome browser. So this is the official portal for your APM. So now you can see here download APM button. Okay. So click on this button. Your application will be downloaded directly for this machine. So I have already downloaded that application here. So this is my APM application. So there are two types of setup file, guys. One is a small one, which this will in turn, while installing, it will communicate with the internet and download the required node libraries. And you have a fully version which is around 200 MB. So if you download that particular setup file, it will you no need to have internet connection during your installation process. Clear? So before that, let me close this AVD manager. So let me install this application. So select for everyone, anyone who is using this computer. So it takes a couple of minutes to install the application. Now if you see here, it is downloading the application and repackaging, rezipping, unzipping the files. So APM is a exe extension file, guys. So if you see the official portal here, so from here, when you click on this download button, you will see here list of applications. This is .dmg file. Extension is for your Mac machine, and you have some other extensions for your Linux machines, some zip files. Now I have downloaded this setup file, which is 696 KB. If you want a offline installation, you can download this one, 119 MB file, so that once this file is downloaded, you don't need any internet connection to communicate and download it again. So you can download your, this is APM server version 1.6.2. Suppose if you want to download APM client libraries, what is client libraries, guys? APM client libraries. Client libraries. What are Selenium client libraries? Okay, what is language bindings? Selenium language bindings or the APM language bindings? Provides APM program, APM API to program and test and execute them. Okay, jar files. In simple terms, as I already told, it are jar files. Client libraries are very simple jar files. If you see your architecture here, either for APM or for Selenium, So these are our language bindings. Let me open in editable format. So this is the architecture of APM. So you have your client libraries here, which are called your client here and your APM server here. We are downloading APM server now. And what is client? Client is nothing but your language bindings or the jar files, which are similar to Selenium. We will import, create a Java project, write the Java code, and import that client libraries to get rid of the compilation errors, or to make use of web drivers, native drivers, Android drivers, or iOS drivers, whatever the driver we are using here. Okay. So the client libraries are called jar files, APM jar files. So now we have APM server here, APM jar files here. Once you execute the code, it will be sent in the form of JSON wire protocol in REST API. Now the APM server is receiving the commands. Hey, I have connected KitKat operating system mobile device to this particular server. Now, can you execute the scripts in this particular mobile, which is which the user is connected with USB? So this is the request in the JSON wire protocol. Now the APM server will go to the Android SDK here. So how the APM server will know where the Android SDK is there? Because we are setting path of Android home, correct? Setting the path till Android home and path variables till platform tools and tools, correct? So now the APM immediately check where is the SDK installed in the computer. So since we already set the Android home path, so it will directly go to UI Automator, tell this UI Automator, go first to ADB. Hey, it will ask the ADB, hey, can you check particular version 5 mobile is connected to this particular computer or not? If it is returning true, if the mobile is ADB devices are available, then the UI Automator will take this JSON, let's say driver.get, this JSON input. How your driver.get will look like? It will look like your JSON command here. So let me increase some font style. So it will be like this. So your URL colon, what is your URL value? It's google.com. So this is your request which is coming. So you need to launch this URL. So you need to launch that URL. This is the value of URL into this mobile device. So now your UI Automator will push this JSON command into this mobile, execute this one, and bring back the status of this particular thing and response to your Java code. So this is the architecture. Now in this architecture, we have seen how to set up Android home already, Android SDK already, clear? So this Android SDK is familiar. We know how to install Android SDK, correct? This part is done. We know how to connect mobile device also, right? Once mobile device is connected, then this mobile device, we are checking in command prompt and checking what is the status. The third part is we are downloading APM exe now. So once we download APM exe, we are installing the APM exe. We have installed the APM exe. Let me launch this APM. So once your APM is installed here, so you'll get an icon on desktop. So once you launch your APM, it will be like this. Let me close that and wait for launch it again. So your APM will be like this. Once you launch your APM, discuss about how to start this server and how to check whether this architecture. Yeah. So the third part is we are downloading our apm.io. We have installed this apm.io. So just give me a sec, guys. It's a problem with my network. Guys, can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. So the first part is installing Android SDK. We know how to install Android SDK. Then we know how to connect mobile device here. These both are done now. So in the process of setting up APM, we have seen two things. One is installing Android SDK and connecting mobile device and checking whether the device is active for automation or not. The third part is we have downloaded apm server.exe. We have installed this apm server. Now let's see what is the process of checking and starting this server. So just give a sec, guys. So once this APM server is installed, you need to start the APM server. So we have seen Selenium grid, right? So in the Selenium grid, when you start the node, how do you check whether the node is active or not? We did not check UI Automator in Android SDK. I know that, Pallavi. Let's focus on Android mobile web now. It's not required UI Automator at this point of time. When we are working with native applications or hybrid applications automation, then we will see what is UI Automator, how do we use UI Automator. Okay. So in our Selenium architecture, we are starting the hub and we are connecting the nodes to that particular hub. How do we check whether the hub is successfully started or not? Okay, how do we start hub at least? So where is our Selenium runner? Or this one? So great setup. So how do you start your server? You'll use a command. You'll download Selenium server jar file, and you have command java-jar and provide this jar name. And you specify the role is hub. Okay, this is how you start hub. So let me copy this one. Open power here. Execute this. So if you see here, now it shows that Selenium grid grid hub is up and running. Node should register to this particular grid. Correct? So this is your grid address. Client should connect to this grid address. Open Google Chrome browser, paste it here. You are seeing some JSON response, which means it is listening. If you want the status of this one, so just provide status. So you are getting a JSON response, which means your grid is already started and listening. Correct? Now, once whatever the Selenium your code you are running, it will come in the form of JSON to this particular. You will be able to execute here, or you can check in this way also. Grid setup. Now this will show you the user interface here. Go to the console. So this is the grid console. This is the way you are going to check, because you have started on this particular port. Similarly, once your APM is installed, okay, launch your APM. If you launch your APM, you will get a screen like this. Just in the host name, leave as it is. It is like 0.0.0, or you can type localhost also here, because you are running your server locally, or you can just provide 127.0.0.1. So, or you can give the IP address or mission name, whatever it is. So I'm giving the local host address here, and what is the port that I need to start the APM server. Okay, so click on Start Server button. Now you can see here APM REST HTTP interface listener started on 127.0.0.1 4723 port. Clear? Your APM server is started now. Just minimize this server. Go back to the Chrome browser. How we checked for status of Selenium server? It is your Selenium hub was started on 4444 port, but you started your APM server on 4723 port. Correct? Just give 4723 port number here, slash webdriver slash hub slash status. So this is the URL to test whether your APM server is up and running fine or not. So when I hit a request from browser, you'll get some JSON response in this server console. So I'm just pinging this URL in the chat box. So once I hit this one, I'll get a JSON response telling what is the version of this particular APM, or the APM server is installed here. And if any session is started, it will give me a session ID. Because I have not started any session here, it is bringing me null. Okay. Now, if you check the APM console, previously we had console only till here, right? Now we got some JSON request to this console asking APM driver dot get status. Correct? Now it is returning the driver status in the form of JSON. Clear, guys? So I cannot increase this font size here. So this is the APM server. We have started the APM server. To check the status of server, we are using this. This is the local host 127.0.0.1. And port number is nothing but 4723 is port number. WebDriver hub, and we are checking the status, which is equivalent to a Java code apm driver.get status. So just give me a sec, guys. I was about to. So just give me a sec, guys. I forgot to charge. Let me connect the charger now. Sure. Guys, can someone confirm if you're able to view my screen? I'm on APM server window.